Gabby, what's going on here today?
This is an amazing historical moment in the history of our library. We've been a branch for over 100 years of the Santa Barbara Library, and we're becoming an independent community library. And we want especially to serve the unique needs of Carpinterians and the Carpinteria Valley, and eventually Summerland and, Montecito Library might join us. They hope to join us someday in our zone.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the grand opening of the Carpinteria Library. I know for a lot of us, this has been a long time waiting to make sure that we had this, but it's outstanding that we as a community are able to have and fund our own library. So congratulations to all of you.
Hola y bienvenidos a nuestra biblioteca de Carpintería. Ha sido muchos años en que hemos esperado para este día, entonces bienvenidos.
So by the way, Natalia is also on our council. She's a council member. She happens to be bilingual. She is going to be assisting us with the translation of this presentation. First of all, I've been asked to give some of the items that we have included in today's festivities. First of all, we have, believe it or not, tours of the library. So if those of you have not yet seen it, I highly recommend that you stick around and make sure you do that part of it. We have videos of the library history playing in the community room. I'll hand this over to you now.
Hoy día vamos a tener tours de la biblioteca, entonces para que no lo faltan pueden entrar y caminar por la biblioteca y también van a ver videos sobre la historia de nuestra biblioteca.
We also have a scavenger hunt and crafts for kids. In the scavenger hunt, I believe somebody said that there are some Spanish doubloons hidden someplace in the room. So good luck on that one. And we have live music. Our live music, I would first like to welcome and thank the Kule Club. A bunch of them are over there. I see Gary Jensen and his gang all playing some music.
Vamos a tener actividades para los niños y también vamos a tener música en vivo. Entonces le queremos dar las gracias al Club Kule que va a hacer nuestra música hoy.
We also have the American Cats. Americana, thank you. Got that one wrong. We got Ted here. He's going to go ahead and make sure I get everything right. So thank you, Ted. We have a DJ Josh, who is a DJ eclectic. So he will also be helping us out with music, I believe, on the other side.
Y también tenemos los músicos de Americana y también tenemos nuestro DJ que es Josh, DJ Hectic.
Okay, and we have the man on the street doing interviews, Larry Nimmer. Go ahead and play that thing up there, Larry. I'm sure you want to look at yourself and make a nice stand. Okay, thank you. And also we have a book, a welcoming book, so please make sure you sign the book.
Y también tenemos a Larry Nimmer y él va a hacer entrevistas si ustedes están interesados. Y también tenemos un libro en que ustedes se pueden escribir un mensaje.
Okay, I guess that wasn't for us. Okay, next up we have, I wanted to announce that we have some light desserts and refreshments at one of the tables. I don't know where they are, and I am told here it says specifically light desserts, so let's not get too carried away on those.
Tenemos unos aperitivos para todos.
And we have lots of takeaways, tattoos, stickers, buttons, bookmarkers, and maybe even a library card. So with that, thank you very much. Keep track of that one. These are all things that you could do during this event. I would now like to introduce the local Chumash leader, Michael Cordero, who will give us a Chumash blessing.
Y también vamos a tener muchas cosas para ustedes que serían los tatuajes, serían los stickers y también más importante sería la tarjeta de biblioteca. Y ahora quiero preguntarle a Michael Cordero que nos va a dar un blessing.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Hi, thanks, Ed. I'm going to say a Chumash prayer in Smuich, which is the language of the Chumash in this area. And it's basically just a prayer calling blessing on the library and on the workers. Can't hear? Oh, sorry. Okay, is that better? Okay, just a prayer to bless the library and the people that work here on its new venture. Okay. First, I'm going to offer a blessing to the directions, and then I'll do the prayer. Bye. Nonokwash taniklik I alimu che mishopshnoun. Tani aklap mishopshnoun chukanu samashkawa. Kunumu iti. Nonok kiakinaliu ushish ma moch tsuku e uku. Kisili ikwelcho I el shu. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next up we have, we'd like to introduce Gabby Edwards, who's the chair of the Friends of the Library.
Every time I stand up to talk about the library or write a letter to, the annual letter to the Friends of the Library, I always quote Fred Shaw, longtime member of the City Council, who said one evening at a City Council meeting, the most important building in a town is its library.
Gabby Edwards es la presidenta de los amigos de la biblioteca de Carpinteria y ella dijo de que cada vez que ella piensa de la biblioteca, ella piensa en algo que dijo Fred Shaw, y eso es que el edificio más importante de una comunidad es la biblioteca.
I think it's a phrase or a sentence that represents our best selves. And I think that it is the reason that when you ask people to volunteer for the library, they always say yes. They know there is something about the library that represents the best in us as individuals and as a community and maybe even as a nation. And really, my job today is just to thank all of the people who have been volunteers or in some way supported our library through good times and hard times at this moment when we head into a really bright future. You're all here because you love libraries. That's easy. But just to name a few, there are hundreds that I want to thank, so you're just going to raise your hand. I'm going to start with the rebarcoders. A wonderful thing happened when our amazing and wonderful new librarian put a little note in the paper saying, we need volunteers to rebarcode all of the books, which will no longer belong to Santa Barbara Library, they'll belong to us. And a little article about this big, 150 people signed up. That's Carpinteria.
La biblioteca es algo que representa a uno, que presenta lo mejor de uno y de la comunidad, y que el papel que Gabby Edwards está jugando hoy es dar el agradecimiento a toda la comunidad que ha estado aquí sobre la biblioteca, sobre los tiempos buenos y los malos. Y la historia en que ella se recuerda de es cuando Carpinteria necesitaba los voluntarios para que pues sería nuestra biblioteca y dijo que había 150 personas que ofrecieron su ayuda.
So raise your hand if you were a re-barcoder. Oh, yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, next I want to honor all of the volunteers who work in the bookstore. You know, we take our bookstore for granted. You go to any other library and they say, wait, you have a used bookstore where all the product is donations, all the staff are volunteers, and the managers are volunteers, and you net about $60,000 a year on your bookstore. They are green with envy. We take it for granted. If you are a bookstore volunteer or have ever been a bookstore volunteer in Carpinteria, raise your hand. I want to also obviously acknowledge that for 55 years now, we've had a Friends of the Library group. Hundreds of people are, send in their membership every year. Raise your hand if you are a member of the Friends of the Library. Yay, thank you. Even when we had no library, it was closed, we had no events because of COVID, you kept sending those checks. Thank you. If you are a member of the board of the Carpinteria Friends of the Library, raise your hand. If you've ever been a member of the board, raise your hand. I think there are some people here who were on the original board. Elizabeth Risden, I think you were one of them, weren't you? Thank you. There she is in the front row. We go way back. We have a wonderful history. You want to take a break and do that?
I will try my best. I will summarize. Lo que hizo es tomar un momento para reconocer a toda la gente que han tomado su tiempo y han voluntariado para the Friends of the Carpinteria Library, y esos son todos que han manejado la tienda, todos que han ayudado con hacer las decisiones de la tienda y mucho más. Entonces, gracias por toda su ayuda.
If you know the history of our library, you know how critical it was that we passed Measure X, sales tax increase in our town. Not an easy thing to do. We had an amazing committee. We had a wonderful consultant who did a survey and said, you will pass this, but you need a budget of about $25,000 to $50,000. And we thought, not going to happen. So we just needed really talented people. I think we raised $7,000 mostly from our own checkbooks. Raise your hand if you were on the Measure X committee. It was amazing. Thank you. If you were on, and I'll get back to the city council, but if you were on that ad hoc committee that helped to decide, if we would go independent, we had some big decisions to make in the last few years, and we had several citizen volunteers on the ad hoc working group library committee. Raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. And then just as volunteers, I want to say that I see lots of people here who don't happen to live in Carpinteria, but I know that they volunteer for their own library. I can't tell you how Friends of the Library support one another. The Friends, I made good friends, with the Buellton Friends of the Library, the Montecito Friends of the Library, the Goleta Friends of the Library. If any of you are here, representing your library or your friends group, raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you.
Muchas gracias a todos que estaban en los comités de Measure X y del Ad Hoc Committee y todos los otros miembros de los amigos de las bibliotecas de las otras ciudades porque han sido mucha ayuda en lo que estamos haciendo aquí.
Next, I want to thank all the local businesses. Once again, everybody wants to support the library. If you ask a little local business if they will, contribute something, all the gorgeous Gerber daisies, the Van Wingerdens have been providing those for years. Risden's provided some of those. Every time we have an annual meeting dinner, some local chef, gives us the dinner at cost. Like Cork Tree did one year, and Food Liaison, many more than I can mention. But also, in addition to local businesses, or like Twice as Nice has been amazing. Roxanne's has been amazing. But also the local nonprofits have partnered with us in our wonderful family arts program, the Alcazar, the Community Garden, the Carpinteria Children's Project. So raise your hand if you represent the small businesses who've supported us or the other nonprofits who have supported us. Thank you.
Y gracias a todos los negocios que nos han apoyado en la ciudad de Carpinteria y también las organizaciones que son non-profit en nuestra comunidad también. Gracias.
Obviously, any great public institution needs the big support of government, and I want to acknowledge that we have been so fortunate. We have two supervisors here today, Doss Williams, who is pretty open about saying that the library saved him when he was a little kid. And, he has been so supportive of our library, especially, when we were on kind of life support and needed extra, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of funds to stay open. Doss found those funds for us. So thank you, Doss. And Greg Hart is here today. I don't know if you know, he's a supervisor in a different district, but his dad became the director of the Santa Barbara Library when he was 5 years old and remained so for 25 years. So Greg has a special interest in libraries and has always been very supportive of all libraries. So Greg, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Le queremos dar las gracias a los supervisores del condado, que es Doss Williams y Greg Hart. Doss Williams ha dicho que realmente la biblioteca le salvó la vida como niño chico, y Greg Hart, los dos han apoyado la biblioteca en mucho, con el dinero y con mucho más.
I want to thank, obviously, our city council, who has been, so supportive of our library. The whole idea of Measure X was, a risk. People don't love an added sales tax, and that the city floated that and that it passed was amazing. And then when they said much of this is going to go to the library, they didn't have to do that, and they took on a municipal library, and we are so grateful for that. If you're presently on the city council, raise your hand, some are, but if you've ever been on the city council, we really appreciate your support. Raise your hand. Where's Fred? And the city employees, have been so helpful. Our new librarian, is now a city employee. In fact, her office has been over, in City Hall. And she has been so grateful for the support that she has gotten from the city employees. But a special shout out, who I'm going to mention, who is so modest that nobody knows how much he does behind the scenes. He has the ideals, he has the practicality to follow through, and that is the best city manager any of us have ever heard of, and his name is Dave Derflinger. Where is he? Where is he? Thank you, Dave. Now, I have one last big thank you, kind of an astonishing story that actually involves Dave. I got a call from a local person that you may not know who said, I've been talking to Dave Derflinger, and he says that your friends group has, interesting ideas for the future of the library, and I want to send you a check from my family foundation. And I said, well, that would be wonderful. And we got the biggest check the Friends have ever gotten 2 days later. And then 6 months later, she called back and said, so how's that going? Do you need some more money? I mean, what do I say? Sure. She doubled that check with the second check. And the third time, a couple of months ago, she didn't even call anybody. She sent us an enormous check. The total from this foundation, earmarked only for the renovation of the library, not fixing the old toilets or the old electrical. The city and the county can do that, but just renovation and figuring out the very best things that we can do for the future of our library. Suzanne Duca, will you stand up? Amazing. Suzanne, we've made a plaque honoring the generosity of your foundation. You'll find it right inside the library. Thank you. Now, I want to introduce Leah, where is Leah? Leah Boyd, who's going to make a special presentation. But I want to close by saying, if we want the library to be the most important building in our town, we know that it needs to expand its services to reach more Carpinterians, to plan exciting new programs, with the help of all of you telling us what you want. That's why Larry is walking around asking you, what's your dream of the library and how it can serve your family or your town? Just be aware that we have some fabulous new librarians whose mission is to do just that. Make it a library for all Carpinterians. And that's Jody, whom you're going to hear from, and Eric. Just fabulous hires. We're very excited about them. Okay, Leah, thanks. Oh, you want to?
En summary, Gabby Edwards quiere reconocer al Ayuntamiento de la Ciudad de Carpinteria, los empleados de la Ciudad de Carpinteria y también a Susan Duca que ha donado a la biblioteca, y también dijo que si nosotros queremos que este edificio sea lo más importante en esta ciudad, necesitamos que ustedes nos dicen qué es lo que quieren ver de esta biblioteca y cómo imaginan el futuro. Entonces, ahora quiero presentar a Leah Boyd.
Hi, everybody. It's really an honor to be up here and sitting among all these people who were really so integral to making this happen. What I want to do today is very briefly just point out that there are people who should be here today, who should be sitting up here today, but they're not with us anymore. And we wanted to do something special to acknowledge those folks, because this effort to get here, it didn't start yesterday, it didn't start last year, it didn't even start 10 years ago. It started ages ago with people who loved this library and have given heart and soul to this library for so long. So a few years back, our friends group decided that we wanted to do something special for the folks who are really legendary in the library's history. Maybe I should.
Entonces, queremos reconocer a la gente que deben de estar aquí con nosotros hoy día, pero afortunadamente no están con nosotros hoy. Entonces, hace unos años atrás, el Friends del Carpinteria Library se juntaron y... It's the middle of your story.
So we got in touch with a very special person named John Wilbrandt, who we probably all know. And he's here right now, and he is cringing because John is uber talented, but he's also uber humble, and he does not like this kind of recognition. So I apologize, John. But we got in touch with John, and we said we have this idea, and we hope you can implement it. John had put a little library down by the community garden, and he did a trompe-l'oeil bookshelf on the side, which probably some of you have seen. It's so beautiful. We said, could you do that for our library? But on the book spines, we want to put the names of these people who are so crucial to the library's history. And John said, yeah, I will. Give me a little bit of time. And then that little pandemic hit, and that time stretched on a bit. And it turned out to be really serendipitous, because when we circled back to this project, it was as we were planning for this event today and for this opening. And in that time, John created something so magical for this library. I hope everyone will take the time to go inside the library and see this piece of art. It's beyond trompe-l'oeil. He created a three-dimensional art piece that's a bookshelf with sort of supersized books on them, and on the bookshelf, and they have the names of our library legends on them. And I'm going to read those names right now, and I wouldn't do justice to explaining all of the things that these folks have done, nor do I have the time up here to do that. But we all remember Grace Moyer. If you remember and loved Grace Moyer, please clap your hands. She was our librarian for so many years and then dedicated so many more years to volunteering at the library. Betty Zattel was a very important part of the Friends group from the earliest days. Foss Campbell as well has been critically involved in the Friends group, or was critically involved in the Friends group for years. Foster Markoff, same. And last, and certainly not least to me, is my grandfather, Paul Ledig, who was a member of this board for very many years. And his widow is here, my grandmother, Carol. So it's really special to me to have his name on this, to know that I'm involved here, to know that he would be so proud of how far this community has come and what we have achieved in our library. So huge thanks to John Wolbrandt. Please, everybody, big round of applause, and please, please find the time to go and enjoy this really magical piece in the library. And I'm so sorry, Natalia, that was way too much.
Lo que dijo es que se comunicaron con John Wolbrandt, que es un artista en la comunidad, y lo que él hizo para esta biblioteca es un pedazo de arte que va a estar aquí para siempre, y reconoce a toda la gente que no están con nosotros hoy, pero apoyaron a la biblioteca por muchos, muchos años. Gracias.
Okay, now I would like to introduce our elected officials, starting with the most important part, that is the City Council. You met Natalia and myself. I would now like to introduce our Vice Mayor, Al Clark. You also have Roy Lee and Greg Carty. This group has worked extremely hard to make sure that we had the funds available to do this. We were told when we first started looking into this that it's impossible. Don't even go down that road because it'll never happen. Well, guess what? We proved them wrong again. So, way to go, Carpinteria. Yeah. We have with us representing Steve Bennett, California State Representative Daniela Aguirre. Come on up.
Queremos primero reconocer el ayuntamiento de la ciudad de Carpinteria y todo su apoyo para la biblioteca, y también les presento a Daniela Aguirre, que es representante del Assembly Member Steve Bennett.
Hello, thank you everyone for having me. As mentioned, my name is Daniela. I am a field representative for Assembly Member Steve Bennett. And on behalf of the member, I'd just like to congratulate the City of Carpinteria and all of the stakeholders involved with the opening of this wonderful community library and making this day possible for all of the community members of Carpinteria. And with that said, we would like to present a certificate of recognition to the Carpinteria Community Library.
Thank you. Come on up here, Debbie. That's your cue. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
All right. Do you want to translate? Do you want to say it?
I can do it. Quiere dar el reconocimiento a la ciudad y todos que están aquí, y el certificado de reconocimiento para la biblioteca. Gracias.
Next up, we have representing Monique Limon from the California State Senate. We have Viviana Morales.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Viviana, and I am representing State Senator Monique Limon. And on behalf of the State Senate, I would also like to congratulate the Carpinteria Community Library for this grand opening. On a personal note, as a Carpinterian myself, I remember growing up and coming to the Carpinteria Library and using the computer and using all of its printing and services, and the librarians. They were incredibly helpful, as I myself did not have a computer at home and did not have access to internet. I remember my mom parking outside here, coming outside and asking her for a quarter to print. And it really was essential in my educational career, and which landed me, going to college and opened so many doors. So I'm really thankful, and I'm excited for the new stage of the library and what it's going to offer to the community. So congratulations. Y unas palabras en español. Yo represento a la senadora Monique Limón y mi nombre es Viviana y quiero felicitar a la comunidad de Carpinteria por esta nueva etapa de la biblioteca. Yo me crié aquí en Carpinteria y me acuerdo usando los servicios de las computadoras y para imprimir mis tareas porque yo en mi casa no tenía computadora o acceso al internet. Y es un buen beneficio que espero que la comunidad aproveche y no puedo esperar para los próximos pasos y éxitos de esta biblioteca. Gracias.
Now we have Doss Williams, County Supervisor.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here. It's been a journey. When I took office as your supervisor, transitioned from the State Assembly 6 years ago, the first thing, Friends of the Library, Carpinteria Library, sat me down and said, we've got the toughest issue for you to tackle in Carpinteria. And I mean, I knew they were with Friends of the Library, so I knew they were going to talk about libraries, but I didn't think that was going to be the toughest issue to handle for Carpinteria.
Dijo que buenas tardes, es un honor en que él esté aquí hoy y reencuentra una historia de que cuando él iba a ser supervisor, que tuvo una cita con los amigos de la biblioteca de Carpintería y que ellos le dijeron que tenían un problema, gracias a todos que me están ayudando, un problema para la ciudad y él no pensaba que iba a ser un problema real.
And, you know, the libraries are, in this county are a joint project between the county, whatever city hosts them, and the Friends of the Library. You know, we do 40%, the city does 40%, and the Friends do usually the balance. It sometimes can vary a little bit in funding, but it's a joint effort, and nobody was really happy with where things were going. Back then it was administered by, in terms of day-to-day operations, as many of you know, by the city of Santa Barbara. And so what the problems were when you got deep down, they were about money and they were about control.
Entonces las bibliotecas en el condado pues estaban conectados. Entonces sobre el dinero era como 40% el condado, 40% la ciudad y pues el resto era el Friends del Library, el Friends of the Carpinteria Library. Entonces finalmente era sobre el dinero y sobre el control de las bibliotecas.
And I think where we've landed after 6 years, and a lot of input from the community, a lot of give and take between players, is that the combination of the county, the city, and the Friends can work it out together. We can keep that partnership. Having a fourth player maybe made it too complicated. And I just want to tell you, because of what I feel like the library represents to a community, that even as this becomes a municipal library, that the county's commitment will not flag to what we have done together and what we can do together.
Entonces dijo que ahora que esta biblioteca sí es parte de la ciudad, pero el supervisor dice que sobre del condado que ellos todavía van a apoyar a esta biblioteca y quieren seguir trabajando juntos.
And so what do I mean by what it means? Well, I think to put it as succinctly as I can, the library represents where we've been, right? We just heard the many people who have helped make this happen throughout the years. We heard about Measure X, which was, you know, I walked precincts for Measure X, and people were somewhat supportive of raising taxes for streets, but they were definitely supportive of raising taxes for libraries. So, we've talked about where we've been, and it's a representation of where we've been. It's not just a new library, it's our old library. But it's also a representation of where we can go and our journey of discovery. And my little girl, Yaash, and her friend Zadie are here because it's their journey too. Folks come into this library that don't have access to all the wealth of information resources that some people do in this day and age. And they create a journey for themselves. I did it in Ojai Library because, back then, kids just wandered around if you didn't have childcare. That fortunately, that's not true anymore. But their place of doing it is right here at Carpinteria Library.
Las bibliotecas no solamente representan dónde estábamos, pero dónde vamos a ir en el futuro. Y las bibliotecas en esta comunidad también representan los recursos que le pueden dar a la comunidad cuando no tienen esas cosas en sus casas.
So let this be the place that we can find our path, that we can journey, and we can keep that commitment to our libraries alive with our finances and with our love and time. Thank you.
Entonces deja que esta biblioteca le da la oportunidad a otros y que nosotros como miembros de la comunidad le podemos ayudar con el dinero y con tiempo. Gracias.
Thank you, everybody. At this time, I'd like to introduce the person that's probably worked the hardest for this, to see this happen, to make this happen, and that is our librarian, Jody Thomas. She saw a vision that we kind of had a similar idea to, but she took it well above and beyond that. She put her time, effort, energy, and a lot of hours, volunteer hours, to make sure that this became a reality. And she pushed us hard enough to have it happen today, so we didn't think it would happen for another 4 months. So, Jody, thank you very much. Come on up.
Queremos presentar a Jody Thomas, que ha trabajado muchas horas para que hoy sea una realidad. Gracias.
Eric, I want to have you come up. Let me have Eric. Good afternoon. I'm so kind of overwhelmed to see everyone here. And thank you, Wade, for the introduction. I also want to introduce our other full-time librarian, Eric Castro. He's the community outreach librarian for Carpinteria. And the other part of the team is here at the other end of the walkway. It's Jenna Jenkins and Tara Ferruta. We have such a strong team here. Super thrilled. You want to translate?
Estoy muy, en palabras de Jody, estoy muy emocionada de estar aquí presentando esta biblioteca y quiero agradecer a quien les habla y también a las integrantes de nuestro equipo y a todas las partes del equipo de la biblioteca.
So being here now is such an honor for me. Librarians have been here for a long time, many, many years, and librarians like Karen Risden, Grace Moyer, and Tara O'Reilly were and are such loved members of this community, and it is in part because of them that the community is so valued here. The community library and the community.
Estoy muy emocionada de estar aquí presentando la biblioteca y es una gran algo que viene de mi corazón sobre las palabras sobre las personas que han estado aquí antes, como lo son los miembros de la comunidad, Grace Moyer, Karen Ritson, and Tara O'Reilly.
Yeah, thank you. So in ancient history, libraries were amassed as repositories for stored knowledge. Over time, they have been seen as tools for civilizing societies and democratizing cities. Public libraries are ingrained in the fabric of American culture, and we almost take them for granted.
En la historia antigua, las bibliotecas fueron lugares maravillosos, repositorios que acumulaban conocimiento. A través de los tiempos, estas bibliotecas han sido herramientas para la sociedad y la civilización para democratizar ciudades.
It was Andrew Carnegie, the Scottish-American industrialist philanthropist, who seeded this country with public libraries by offering funds to build them. But he did so with the stipulation that each community provide the land and the local government agree to provide salaries for staff and funds to purchase books to fill it, thereby making public libraries sustainable over the ages. This became the model for public libraries in the United States.
Fue Andrew Carnegie, el americano escocés, industrialista, filántropo, quien vio que en este país las bibliotecas públicas ofrecían fondos y él ofrecía fondos para construir bibliotecas, para armarlas y establecerlas. Pero él dijo o presentó una estipulación que cada comunidad provea la tierra y que el gobierno local provea los salarios para el personal y los fondos para que sean destinados a los libros. Entonces, esto hizo que las bibliotecas públicas sean sostenibles en el tiempo y esto se convirtió en el modelo de las bibliotecas públicas en los Estados Unidos.
But a public library is not a given. It takes resources, it takes people, it takes tax dollars. In fact, the most valuable thing about a public library is that it's free to use and open to everyone. And it's not something that I think we could start today. It's something that we inherited and that we continue and I'll just leave it there.
Pero las bibliotecas públicas no son un regalo. Estos necesitan recursos. Se necesitan dólares de nuestros impuestos y también traer beneficios, dinero, ganancias que se tienen que invertir en las bibliotecas. De hecho, lo más valioso de esto es de que las bibliotecas públicas son un lugar gratis de usarlo y son lugares abiertos para todo el mundo.
Okay, so we are going to use this library as a place to connect, a place to learn new things, to make friends, to meet neighbors, to learn to read, to borrow computers, to connect to the internet, to get high school diplomas, to become citizens, to learn a language, to find a job, to find information to access resources, to print documents, to be safe, to read the paper, to do homework, to combat loneliness, and also to borrow lots and lots of really great books.
Las bibliotecas son un lugar para conectarnos, para aprender nuevas cosas, para hacer amigos, para ser vecinos, para aprender a leer, para prestarse computadoras y usarlas, para conectarnos a Internet, para obtener diplomas de secundaria, para convertirnos en ciudadanos, para aprender un lenguaje, para encontrar un trabajo, para encontrar información y accesos de recursos de información, para imprimir documentos, para estar seguros, para leer el periódico, para hacer tareas del colegio y para combatir la soledad. Y también un lugar para que nosotros podamos llevarnos montones y montones de maravillosos libros.
So congratulations, you have a library.
Felicitaciones, todos ustedes tienen una biblioteca.
Okay, with that, it's the time. We're looking at doing the ribbon cutting right now. I would like to ask our officials to please step forward. Just to let you know, what part of the excitement of this one is that this is the first time ever we will be using scissors that the city actually bought to cut this. Now, we did not break the bank, so we don't know if they're going to cut for sure, but we're kind of hoping they are. So protecting taxpayers' dollars. But with that, thank you very much for the city. This is going to definitely be a tradition. This is something that we as a Carpinteria should be very proud of because this is our latest Carpinteria treasure. Thank you, everybody, very much. Okay, come on up, everybody.
Making more announcements.
You gotta jump in there. No. Hold your breath, everybody. I hope this works. 1, 2, 3.
Well, I'm excited to be able to have someplace local to bring my kids, check out books. Library was one of my favorite places to go when I was a little kid, so I'm very excited for that. We've already gone out and we have our eye on a couple of books we want to borrow.
Well, I'm hoping for gold. We've taken the opportunity to take control of our future with the library. It was under threat. We've been financing it. Fortunately, along came Measure X, and we had some money to use for this project. There was a survey that we did, the Finance Committee of the city, in 2012, and it was a citizen preference contest or survey. What do you like best about Carpinteria? And number one was the library, and so we know that's the most important thing to the biggest number of Carpinterians, and so we really needed to do this. And thanks to Measure X and thanks to all the supporters and friends of the library, we were able to get this done and take control of it so we don't have any uncertainty about the future of the library. We know we've got it and we're going to have it and we're going to keep it.
Jody Thomas is awesome. She's the best thing for this library I've ever seen in 60 years.
What do you hope for the future library?
More wonderful things, more programs. We miss Tara, that she was here. Of course, my kids growing up with her, the Spanish programs that they have here, all the programs that they have for kids are fabulous. And I look forward to them being so involved with the community, and now that it's really owned by the community like this, it's so exciting. More library, more library fun.
Well, it's a miracle, and I'm so happy it's open again, and I'm happy it's ours. I've been bringing my kids when they were little on a bicycle down here from down in Arbor Verde, and it changed our lives to have it so close. I'm still a reader. I'm still reading, and it's the best education you can have. So I'm grateful we have it here. Thank you.
This library is such a treasure. It's where so many of the community learn how to speak English. It's where our kids learn to have a love for reading and a love for discovery. It's such a relief that it's back and with so much redone and in such a great form. So inspired to see our new library.
I think you once
our new old library.
I think you once told me how the library influenced you, that you had a place to go when you were young.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me that again?
Yeah, growing up in Ojai, the library was kind of like, for some of us poor kids, it was childcare. It was where I went and had a little bit of adult supervision and the librarians, and did a lot of reading and stayed out of trouble.
Okay, now you're in good trouble.
Yeah. Now I'm interested more in getting into good trouble.
Nice to see you, Don.
Good to see you.
First of all, Carpinteria is amazing, and this community are so lucky. Anybody who lives here is so lucky. And to be able to enhance some of its key features like a library is a privilege. So I love libraries, and I love that we now have a library of our own in Carpinteria.
My name's Ron Solorzano, and what I like about the library is that it's the university of the people. So anybody could come to the library, do some research, read, find out about things, improve their life, and so forth and so on. So libraries are the people's place, and I'm glad that we're celebrating Carpinteria's library today.
Well, I'm on the board of the Friends of the Library, which supports the library. and we made a video about the history of the library, and I think it's great that we have our own community library now. We can make all the decisions on what's right for our community.
What were some of the highlights in the history of the library?
Well, I didn't realize how old it was. It's over 110 years old. It's caught on fire twice. It's had like 8 locations in the town. The first librarian was paid 25 cents an hour. Didn't know that. Tara's in there as well, of course, but it's just a fun video that puts history in perspective. Yeah, it's got a great history.
Well, thanks for your work, Ashley.
All right, thank you.
Well, I think what the work they've done, everybody in the community, it's the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. And I'm just ecstatic. I even picked up a library card yesterday when we came in. So my wife, the work she's done, and the work that everybody, the community has accomplished here, just makes me so proud to be a Carpinterian.
I'm just looking forward to using it again in person, not online. And I'm really thrilled that it's reopening, and it does a lot of good for our community. And I've got great expectations for more.
Well, I should give you it before you start filming. I'm the librarian's husband, so I'm rather biased. And this is the librarian's daughter and granddaughter.
And what do you hope for the future?
Oh, goodness. That it really becomes the community center and library that my wife's vision has for it. And it looking like it's off to a great start.
Well, I think it's a wonderful way to learn, a great atmosphere. I think the thing that is really nice is they have a very intimate little outdoor space.
Ocean liner took us so far away. I didn't mean to treat her so bad. It was the best girl I ever had.
I hope that we have more community participation in the new library, and that I'm very glad that there's bilingual. I hope there's maybe some study groups and some displays of different activities that we have in the community.
Nice. Would you care to tell me?
Sure. I think it's exciting that Jody has brought the community together, and this is the first few weeks that I've really participated in the library, and it looks fabulous, and to see all these children here is just makes my day.
What do you hope for the library?
What I hope for the library is that it introduces a writing literacy program sometime soon, because when you can read you can follow, but when you can write you can lead.
Well put. Al.
Yeah, man.
What are you hoping for the library?
Oh man, as a children's author, my books love this new home, and we're hoping to attract more and more kids to come in and read more great books and start to learn to write their own books and tell their own stories.
Well, tell me, who are you?
My name is Eric Castro. I'm the new community engagement librarian here at the Carpinteria Community Library.
What's your background?
Well, I am an immigrant in the U.S. I used to be a librarian in Peru. I came to the U.S. in the year 2000 to San Francisco, so I used to work for San Francisco State University, the San Francisco Public Library, and then I have experience in Santa Barbara Public Library, and finally I got here in Carpinteria.
Where do you live?
I live in Santa Barbara, in the east side. Hopefully I will move to Carpinteria. It's one of my best wishes right now, my biggest wishes.
Well, thank you. Nice to have you on board.
Thank you very much.
Where you are, what do you think of the new library?
I haven't even been in, but my name's Allison, and I used to work at the library for 10 years when this guy was in my belly, and we came from Santa Barbara special to come for the grand opening. We're super excited.
Okay, nice to see you. And you are?
I am County Supervisor Greg Hart.
What do you think of this?
This is an extraordinary achievement. The community should be understandably really proud. It's gorgeous. Folks are going to be able to read and enjoy themselves in what really is the heart of Carpinteria, the community library.
Nice to see you, Greg.
You too, Larry.
Oh, what do you hope for the new library?
I hope the community sticks behind them as much as they are in the town people, because it shows their love toward the library. not just today, but every day the rest of their lives.
Okay, nice. Holland, what do you like about the library?
I like all the books.
Okay, nice. And Mom?
I like that the library is a place where anyone of any color, of any income category can go and feel like they're just the same as everybody else.
Nice. Thanks, ladies. Fred, what do you like about the library?
You know, Larry, I love the library. It's like Gabby said, most important building in the city. Growing up, I spent a lot of my time in the library, whichever city I happened to be living in. When I went to college, a lot of the books I couldn't find, I could always find them in the public library. And it's just a focal point for everything that's really good about the city. The kids come in, they can read to escape, they can read to learn, they can see their friends there. If they don't have access to computers, they're here. The staff is always helpful. Carpinteria especially has been fortunate to have great librarians for many, many years. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful building. And I'm so glad that they kept the building itself the way it is, because I think that's very significant, because the building itself is historic. And it's beautiful that they're going to be able to work with the confines of the structure itself to really expand the library. I am just thrilled. I can't tell you how thrilled I am with the fact that we now are totally in charge of our own library. It's wonderful, and I'm just hoping that through the next few months and years, that Jody is just overwhelmed with so many people coming into the library and realizing what a treasure it is. For Measure X, primarily because we realized that if we really ever wanted our own library, that's how we were going to do it, with that Measure X money that now helps support our library. It's for the city, they did a wonderful thing voting for Measure X, and this is this is what we can do with that money. We can supply all of you people with the pleasure of your own personal library.
Nice. Thanks, Fred. So what are your hopes for the future of the library?
I hope that my sons and my daughter get out of it everything that I got out of it, and I'm sure they will with all the great changes. And my guys are right over there breaking the place in, reading books. So thank you, Carpinteria, thank you, Gabby Edwards, and everybody else who worked on the library.
Thank you. Hey, what's your dream for the library?
My dream for the library is hot water in the restrooms.
Oh yeah, what are you hoping for this library?
Well, I'm just hoping to get to come here and be part of the community, but I don't even live here. I live in Santa Barbara, but I just came down because I'm a friend of Jody's from the old days, and I'm just thrilled that she's doing this, and you can just feel the good vibrations of Carpinteria out here today. I was surprised to come out and see how many people were out here. I thought there was a big festival going on. Oh no, it's just the library reopening. But you guys this is a great spot. I don't know, I'm hoping to be able to get more online books too, so.
Suzanne, what are you doing today?
Today we are here on behalf of Artesanía para la Familia. We are doing some arts and crafts for the kids. The butterfly, which is the new logo for the Carpinteria Library card, done by one of our former students, Itza Alvarado.
Amanda.
And get Leslie too.
What do you like about the library, ladies?
We are the library ladies.
We are friends of the library. Friends of each other and friends of the
library.
What's your hope for the future of the library?
We're here to support it and make it even better than it is. Okay?
Thank you. What are your hopes for the library?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say something about the ceremony. You know, to look out, it's so heartfelt to see so many smiling, happy faces. I love this community. There's no other place like it. To have our own library, I congratulate the community. There was, I can't even name the names. It goes endless how many people were involved in making this happen. And I congratulate our community. This is just awesome. It's another.
I hope that kids come into the library and find some beautiful new stories that take them to lots of places, and I hope that the Friends of the Library continues to thrive, and thanks to my mama on the Friends of the Library and all their hard work.
I'm hoping it becomes a community center, a place where people can come and not only check out books, but meet other people and relax and read and just enjoy the calmness. It's beautiful in there now. It's, you know, it's changed so much. It's a wonderful asset for our community.
Donna Jordan, what's your hope for the future of the library?
Hi, Larry. Oh, it's to be full of kids all the time, and you know that's where my best memories are as a young person, to be able to sneak into the library, and we even snuck into the adult parts sometimes, and I got to read the big books. So I hope the kids will do that too. Thanks for asking.
Thanks, Donna.
My wife and I just moved to Carpinteria 2 years ago, and we witnessed the library closed a lot. We both grew up on the library, we're college educated, and we're happy to see it open again. We'd like to see them, sponsor more events. We're going to be donating a bunch of books, and we just hope that it'll continue to expand and be a boon to the community.
Well, I appreciate this library. It's a really nice atmosphere right now. A place I'd like to come sit and read books. But I've always been a reader all my life. I worked next door at the Friends of the Library bookstore as a volunteer. And I just support especially getting children, young children, to read. And they have some really nice programs here for that.
So what do you hope for the library?
I hope that the library is a true community hub. I have 2 young kids, and so we come twice a week probably, and so we love story time, and I love all the possibilities for community resources and ESL classes, and just reaching the wider Carpinteria community with all kinds of things that are happening and available to the public.
Can you see all the little things? What do you see in there?
Yeah, it's Japanese, you see.
Congratulations. I'm so excited. I love this library. It's the first place where I did a workshop and to get my certification as an arts facilitator, creative arts facilitator. And I wish for them lots of success, lots of events, Friends of the Library events. Maybe once a month we could do something like this.
Hey, thank you. And what does the Friends of the Library do? Or what does this bookstore do?
What is this bookstore? All these books are donated, and we sell the books to people who want them, and the money goes back to the library.
I'm saying I'm so sorry Tara O'Reilly isn't here today, because she's such a part of this library. She's such a part that her spirit is everywhere, smiling at all this beauty.
There's been quite a history of wonderful librarians at the Carpinteria Library, and I know when Tara O'Reilly was the librarian there and my librarian, I used to think, she's so nice to me, but then afterwards I realized she was that nice to everybody. But she set a wonderful example.
Well, on the grand opening of the library today, it's great to reflect back and think Carpinteria has always had a library. I think it should always have one in the future.
What do you hope this library will offer in the future?
Free coffee.
What?
Free coffee?
No. Oh, okay. You'd like free coffee.
Yeah, I've never seen a library with free coffee, and you guys would be like, you know, world renowned for the safest beach, one of the most interesting houses in the world right around the corner, and free coffee at the library.
Make sure you support Carpinteria Library. We need books. I know everything's online nowadays, but you gotta still have a nice book in your hand. And we're providing that for the community. Make sure you support the Carpinteria Library.
What did you think about today?
Today was so wonderful to look out, to stand up here, sit up here, and look at the smiling faces, and then have people afterward tell me how lovely it was, how emotional it was, surprisingly emotional for some people, which was very sweet, I thought. And people told me that they really appreciated that it was translated into Spanish, which I really value because I thought, you know, it made it longer and I thought people might get a little impatient, but they didn't. Partly because Natalia made it look easy and fun, you know. That's a real skill, to process a lot of listening and spit it right back out. You know, that was great. And just wasn't too long. Everybody seemed comfortable. They didn't look bored. You know, I thought it was great. So.
And Tara was really sorry she couldn't be here.
You know, and I was going to say, there, you know, I didn't know whether she would want people to know that, you know, there's this sadness in the family or a family emergency, but we really missed her. And you know what I was going to say? I was going to say, Tara's not here. But I just want you to know that when I spoke to her a year ago and said, do you know who might be especially wonderful as our new librarian? She said, yeah, Jody Thomas. And we got Jody Thomas. So I feel like it's part of a legacy, you know, that Tara recommended her. So that feels really good. Not surprising, but you know, just another added piece of why today and the future of the library is so bright.
Jody, can I get a quick sound bite?
Sure.
What did you think about today?
Oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. So beautiful. You know, the thing about Carpinteria is how everybody pitches in, but everybody's so relaxed about whatever it is that we've done here. Like, we're not quite finished, but everyone is just so happy to have the library be their own. And I was really taken aback by how many people and how excited everyone is.
Was my heart, so why not take